Hello, welcome to meteormushrooms.com instructional video on opening oyster mushroom blocks. Today's demonstration will be done on elm oyster mushroom fruiting blocks. This instructional video is also relevant for pearl oyster, blue oyster, pink oyster, golden oyster, chestnut, and even lion's mane. Some basic instructions on the back label. You can see the block is very well myceliated, nice and mature. It's got a blanket of mycelium growing on the top. It's definitely ready to open. This is what it looks like without mycelium growing in it. That's just the substrate, which is basically hardwood. The blocks were made using a biodegradable mushroom grow bag with a micropore patch to allow it to breathe. We will also be using a biodegradable packing tape today. Both of these are available on our website, meteormushrooms.com. There's a good side-by-side view. You can see the myceliated versus unmyceliated blocks. For opening the block, you're going to need a sharp utensil. We use an X-Acto knife. You can also use scissors or a very sharp knife. We use our biodegradable packing tape, and we use a spray bottle of isopropyl alcohol. We use the strong stuff, which you can get at a drugstore from behind the counter or from a cleaning supplies store. It's very important to keep everything sterile. That's the isopropyl alcohol is for, of course. I've already done my hands. I've cleaned the utensil. I've already cleaned the environment on the block that I'm cutting it on. You can see here I'm now redoing the utensil. It's going to be cutting right into the substrate a little bit. So you could be introducing contaminants by accident. You want to especially clean the places where you're going to open the block. For this example, we'll be doing the two sides. So you can see I did those first. Making sure you clean all the parts of it. You can remove the labels at this point too, if you're finished with those. Here it is all ready to go, and it's time to start the opening. To begin, we just make a little slit across the top of the bag, and then you can press all of the air out of the bag. Just tuck it all back, all that excess material. Then we're going to use that biodegradable tape, and we're going to wrap it nice and tight to create a block as opposed to a bag. It should be noted that before opening, you should have your growing environment set and ready so you can put it straight in. If you're not sure about creating the environment, you can go to our website, meteormushrooms.com, and then just read the instructions for grow blocks. Once again, ensuring your implements and the bag are very sterile as much as possible. Isopropyl alcohol. Clean it all down, get any debris off of there. Sometimes there's a bit of glue that gets stuck on there, which you know is just hiding bacteria. Clean your hands again, clean the bag again, in particular where you're going to be opening it. We most commonly open the two short sides, the ones I'm scrubbing right now. We use that as our first flush. Get one really good first flush out of both sides. Our second flush we get from one of the long sides, and then the third flush from the opposite long side. We use several different variations of opening. This is just a slit across, lifting it slightly, putting a little clip on either side, allowing the flap to open when the mushrooms push out, and they'll go kind of grow in a cluster all the way across the length of that. This is our more common one. We do a rectangular window and cut the flap right off. Note that we cut the windows near the top of the block. This allows for better water retention and allows you to add more water if you need to for second and third flushes. So you can see I did kind of an L shape first, cutting as minimally into the mycelium and the substrate as possible. And then I finished the second half of the L to complete the rectangle without having to cut the mycelium at all, because you can pull it away at that point. That window is just smaller than a deck of cards, and that's about what you want. You don't want it any bigger than that, or it'll just dry out faster. Another block, same thing. It's an elm oyster block, and we're going to do both sides again. This time we're going to do 2 windows. Starting near the top of the block, doing a slit across, making that L shape I mentioned before, prying away the flap so that you can cut the rest without having to cut at all into the mycelium. Great, here it is again, but the size of a deck of cards. Ready for the next side. Same again, other side. We're going to do another window, same as that. So another rectangle near the top of the block, but on the sides. Do the little L shape, peel it open, and then here's another way you can do it. You kind of go cutting upwards. Just pull that away and cut it as it peels back, and then cut upwards to finish. Throw that little piece away, and you've got just smaller than a deck of cards window. That's 2 blocks ready and open for our growing environment. Once the mycelium detects oxygen, humidity, and light, it will begin its fruiting. So good luck and happy growing, and thanks for watching this instructional video brought to you by meteormushrooms.com. Check out the meteor.